Good evening, everyone. My name is Elena Perry, and I'm one of the Assistant Directors of Admission here at Champlain College. I want to thank all of you so much for tuning in tonight for our second Google Hangout this spring. We are so excited. Tonight, we're going to be talking about our admitted student days and kind of what to expect and how to prepare. We have some really lovely panelists here tonight to talk about it, current students. Just a reminder, our admitted student days are on April 1st and April 22nd, so we really hope to see you there. If you have any questions for us tonight during the Google Hangout, feel free to direct those to YouTube or Twitter, and we will do our best to answer those. But without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to your lovely host this evening, Caitlin Ludke, who's one of our admissions interns, and she will be kind of hosting the Google Hangout tonight and taking any questions. So thank you again, and I'll be coming back on at the end to kind of wrap things up. But thanks so much.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So I'm Caitlin, and I'm one of the senior interns here. I'm a senior psychology major with a minor in public relations, and I will be graduating in May. So we're very excited and very happy that this is my last admitted students day, and I get to end it on a high note. So tonight we are going to talk all about what the event has in store for you, including the Friday night social and the actual event on Saturday. But first I'll have my panelists introduce themselves. So panelists, if you could say your name, the year that you are in right now, your major, and things that you are involved with on campus, that would be lovely.
Hi everyone, my name is Tyler Jennings Pesca. I'm a senior at Champlain this year. I'm studying broadcast media production, and the clubs I'm involved with on campus are PAWS.
Hi everyone, is it working? Hi everyone, my name is Michelle Garvey. I am a third-year early childhood elementary ed major with a minor in foreign languages. I am involved with dance team, and I do a lot of the elementary ed panels for Accepted Students Day, so I might see you there, or Admitted Students Day. And then I am starting a chapter of the National Education Association on campus.
Hi, my name is Bianca Roa. I'm a third-year marketing major with a specialization in integrative advertising. The club that I've currently dedicated most of my life to is Stiller Women in Business, and we advocate for empowering women on campus, especially in the business major.
I'm Jared Nepper. I am a sophomore management and innovation major, so in the business school, as is Bianca. I'm from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, and I am here on campus involved with admissions. I'm a student ambassador, so if you come to visit campus at any time during the year, there's a chance that I might be walking around giving you a tour on campus, which is always exciting for me. But I also am involved with our Student Government Association and with CHAMP, an organization that plans a bunch of student activities across campus and around the Burlington area for our students to engage with.
Awesome. So those are your panelists for tonight, all lovely. So I guess we'll start off with the first question everyone wants to know about. What has been your experience with Admitted Student Day? And whoever wants to go first, take it away.
I'll jump in. I'll start. I was very nervous for my Admitted Student Day. I didn't know what to expect really when I came to Burlington. I'd already toured once, and I love Champlain. I applied early decision, but I was really nervous because I was just thrown into the college experience, and my own nerves got the best of me really, at least the first night. But then once I opened up and got to talking to people and really learning the vibe of Burlington and of Champlain, I felt right at home and have ever since.
Awesome.
I can go next. So like Tyler, I was extremely nervous coming into it. I didn't know anyone from home coming to Champlain, so it was a fresh new start. I knew I'd been talking to some people on the Facebook page, so it was nice to get to meet them and see them in person and kind of get to know who you were going to be with for the next 4 years. So that was really exciting, but it was definitely nerve-wracking, but definitely once you were there and at the event, it's very calm and relaxed.
I actually didn't attend an Admitted Students Day while I was a student. I'm from South Carolina, so I was a little too far away in order to make it. but the first time I ever experienced one was as a current student, and I got to like watch all the emotions of students who were like trying to figure out what they wanted to do with college, and it was really interesting and very exciting to just a year after see it from the other side and like recognize that that stress like worked out for me. So I've worked my freshman year as a current student for Admitted Students Day, but it's different seeing it from the other side for sure. But every single time, students are having a blast, and they get to do cooler and cooler events. So it's exciting.
Again, in the same boat as Bianca, I didn't actually attend an Admitted Student Day as an admitted student. I did it as a current student at Champlain. So the turnaround for me was not quite the shift that it may have been for Tyler or Michelle, just because I was looking at it only from the news side. But for me, it was a fun process because I had engaged with some of the people that were there as admitted students prior. I'm not sure how many or who might be watching this evening, but I have dropped into the class of 2021 group a number of times on Facebook. And last year I was even more involved with the 2020 group and got to build some relationships there, recognize some names and faces, which was really enjoyable for me then to see those people in person. And especially now looking back, I know a lot of people that are on campus at this very moment who came to those events and were able to engage with their peers, people who found roommates there because they weren't sure exactly who they were going to get connected with once they were on campus. So it's a nice barrier breaker to get on campus and interact with a bunch of peers, not just on that first introductory level that you do whenever you're here for your first campus tour and everybody's coming from different places and maybe starting at different times. You're there with a bunch of people who are just on the brink of graduation like you are, which is exciting because you're all ready to start that new chapter of life, as people often say, and you're there together to check out a place that you have all been accepted to, that you all love on some level. And usually it's an experience that solidifies your desire to come or to go. You have more clarity on what it is that makes Champlain the place that it might be for you. Sometimes it's the academics that speak to that. Sometimes it's the teachers that you get to speak with because there will be professors there. Maybe it's the current students like Bianca and myself who get involved with it. So it's a nice opportunity to engage on a lot of different levels. So for me, it's been enjoyable to look back and know that I had a lot of concerns, like I think Tyler was mentioning too. A lot of concerns that could have gone away had I had an experience where I engaged like Tyler did and like Michelle did to get those different dimensions of the Champlain experience. So I always encourage people to come to Admitted Students Day. If I meet them on tours or anything like that, it's always something that I would recommend just because it's magical, really. It's something that makes you look into your future with a lot more vision than you might if you were just imagining it home as you're looking at brochures. To be on campus and think, this is where I could be living, that's incredible.
Awesome. So that was very good insight into what Admitted Students Day is like for our panelists. Just a quick rundown. So they talked a lot about, meeting with current students and faculty and seeing really what the campus life is like. So just as a quick rundown for our events, both of our Admitted Students Days, on Friday we have a social, if you will, and the current students will hang out and play games and just, connect with the admitted students on Friday night. And that's only for the admitted students. The parents go off into their own little event and mingle with deans and admissions counselors and they have their own little thing. So that's a really fun event where you can really see what kinds of activities Champlain puts on for our current students. And then Saturday morning is a day for the whole family. So we have welcoming and opening remarks from the president of the college and the director of undergraduate admissions. And then students will go to academic sessions for their respective divisions. And then in the afternoon, we totally open it up for all of you. So you can go on a campus tour or you can go on a residence hall tour, which is really special. We have different information sessions for you to go to. So it's a day all filled with a lot of current students and faculty, and you really get to see the vibe on campus. So that's what they're all gonna really talk about tonight. So I guess the next thing I wanna ask you all is who will the student be able to meet at Admitted Students Day?
Well, I think a big one is like other students who are in the same place. But then also the faculty and staff that'll be their support over the next 4 years. That was something that I did not really get because I came and I toured over the summer and I got to talk to a current student, but I didn't really get too much interaction with the people that I would be learning from and the people that I would be looking to for advice in terms of professional and academic. And I really think that students gain a lot of comfort from knowing and seeing who is going to help shape their experience, especially in the classroom. And it's really nice to like talk to the professors and to the faculty of your division or of core, because they'll often be the kind of people that remember you when you actually get to campus. And when you are a student, knowing names and recognizing faces is one of those unique Champlain things that I absolutely love, because I've grown to become friends with my professors or my advisor, and I talk to them not just about school but about everything else. And it's exciting to meet them for the first time and then get their perspective and see it all from like a new view.
I completely agree.
Go ahead, Tyler.
Sorry, Jordan. I completely agree. I can speak a lot to what Bianca just said. Even when, sorry, I went off in this. Jared, you should take this.
So I attended an open house event rather than an admitted student one, but there's some overlap on what you'd see there. I got to meet a core professor while I was there, Mike Kelly, who did a mock core lecture, something like what the class would be were I a student at Champlain and sitting on the course. Had a very interesting conversation that also cleared up for me what core was, because that was a bit of a mystery. It seemed odd to me in the marketing and in conversations I had about what really is core. So I got some clarity on the academic side too, but really got to see some of the people that would be involved in that experience, just like Bianca was saying. So that was fun for me. And now looking back on that, I just got back. We had spring break this past week, and I just got back from a trip through the UK. We visited London, Edinburgh, up in Scotland, York and Durham, and did a tour that looked at a lot of different places that tied into literature and mythology in general, but especially with focus on Harry Potter, because that was a focus that one of our teachers chose for our heroines and heroes course that we have in core. So really interesting stuff to dive into, to think that we have a college course that revolves around Harry Potter is a fun thing to begin with, but then to take a spring break trip where you get to explore like that. We had 2 core teachers there the whole time. And for me to think now that I just spent 10 days out of the country touring through Harry Potter sites with 2 people that I might have met just showing up at Admitted Students Day and having lunch with them, that's a pretty cool thing for me too, to look in retrospect. Now, again, Mike Kelly wasn't the one that took me on that trip, but I did have class with Mike Kelly during my first semester here on campus. So it's that nice full circle experience where you get to know people by name, like Bianca said. And you'll have that a lot with students too. Again, many students that I met at Admitted Students Day last year are on campus now. So if I pass Julia Crum or Becca Boucher or Olivia Cephalou, I can speak to them and know them on a certain level now that I didn't then, but it's fun to have that connection looking back and see that you were a part of that journey through, and that then you can turn around and hopefully help somebody else through that. Because college it's a new experience, so people go into it with some apprehensions, but that's a fun thing to be a part of with your peers, because that helps to push those away some.
I think my favorite thing about it was meeting the peers that I'm with in my year, but also the peers like Jared was talking about that I will come up to being peers with. And so, for example, they had an activities fair during the Friday night social, and I went to the dance team table and was talking to the current sophomores on the team. And then when I came up the next year, I was able to recognize them and they recognized me, and it was a nice connection that we made during Admitted Students Day that was able to be carried on throughout the following year and my other years here at Champlain.
Is Tyler back now? Tyler, do you want to answer?
Hopefully I don't have to run around and turn the lights back on. But yeah, like I was saying, I was remembered 4 years later by an admissions counselor from my Admitted Students Day. And that's just, I think, so indicative of the nature of Champlain and the relationships you can build here. It's just like, and that's just a normal thing for someone to say, hey, I saw you 4 years ago at Admitted Students Day. And, that was a really big defining moment for me, because I was like, wow, this is really where I was supposed to be. I made the right decision. That's always a good feeling. And again, just like everyone's been saying, the connections you can make with students, I was petrified to talk to anybody else because I didn't know anyone. And so finally breaking down those barriers and saying, okay, like this is what I have to do. and talking to people, getting to know people, and people I still know now and are friends with now. I just kind of glanced at or had a little conversation with them at Students' Day, and it does really make a world of difference.
Wonderful. I would also have to agree. Admitted Students Days are so fun because I worked Admitted Students Days, and I still get people who are like, I saw you there. You gave me a tour on Admitted Student Day, and that's really fun. So I guess whether you worked Admitted Student Day or attended when you were an admitted student, what was the most memorable part of the day for you or the weekend?
I think the most, go ahead.
I remember last year doing Burlington tours, which was a new addition. And again, they cycle through new things every year. We had tie-dye last year for shirts that students could take their admitted student shirt and tie-dye that and make something unique for themselves. And we had a workshop that they're replicating again this year for the business students on devising your own Ben & Jerry's flavor. But in the middle of the day, we got to do Burlington tours. And Burlington is something that isn't included on a regular Champlain campus tour because we're showing you Champlain, but Burlington is definitely a really big part of life at Champlain because there are so many opportunities in the Burlington community to hit up really cool coffee shops or restaurants or places to go get some new clothes or just parks to walk through with your friends. So being able to walk downtown through Burlington as an orientation leader, who was one of the current students, that's just a title we have for some of the current students that help orient everybody when they get on campus. We walked downtown and got to go in some shops down there and just show them what downtown Burlington is like, which was really fun for a lot of people. And they realized that even outside of the classroom, there were so many opportunities. So I think that the downtown area is a really cool thing to check out, and doing that on Admitted Students Day was really fun.
Ooh, you mentioned the one that I think is really cool. The Ben & Jerry's event is so cool to watch because you're not given a lot of time, and students that are in the business department will be like, I think the prompt was come up with a flavor based off of a charity or like a, what was it?
They have like special holidays
Yeah.
you can connect it to, charities.
Yeah. But it was so cool to like watch students just like on their feet do things that they would learn in the classroom without even realizing it before like and see like their skills in the classroom formulate like very early on. And I think like my favorite from the year I worked it was a black and white one, like a chocolate and vanilla ice cream that was panda flavored. I don't remember what the name was, but like all the proceeds would go to conservation of pandas and like wildlife. And I just thought it was so cute and like it's so inventive, and that totally could be a flavor done by Ben & Jerry's. So it's awesome to watch. And then they get free Ben & Jerry's, so I was super jealous that like I couldn't take part.
So I think my most memorable time at my Admitted Student Day was actually meeting my professors that I was going to have in the next few months. College to me was this big, scary thing that was coming, and I had no idea what to expect. I was so uncertain. I knew where I wanted to go, but that's about it. You know, I don't know how to talk and how to dress and what to do. And so breaking down at least the academic barrier was really important to me because I had my professors I was going to see and who were going to grade me and get to know me very soon. And they were reading the curriculum, what the average student's like. And that really helped me because there's just so many aspects of college that are daunting when you're a committed or an admitted student. There's just so much you have to prepare for and know. And like Bianca said, just breaking down all of the barriers that had been in my head for months was huge for me.
So much like Tyler, my favorite part of my Admitted Students Day was meeting my education professors and the current students that were in the education division. So going to that breakout session and learning about how our curriculum was going to work, what classes I was going to be taking that following fall, and kind of where I was going to be in a year, in 2 years, 3 years. And so that was really interesting to hear the current students' experiences, but also be able to talk one-on-one to my professor, the dean of my division. And all of that was just really nice because it eased the nerves a lot.
Yeah, so a lot of a lot of what we do at Admitted Students Day is all about, just connecting and networking with people that are on campus, because our goal, or what we want you to feel, is like you're a current student, so you can really try to make that decision and see if Champlain is right for you. So it's really good to hear that all of you got to talk to professors and see students interacting, and that's really the whole point of the day. So the next question is, how is this event different from our other admissions events like open houses?
I'd say that Admitted Students Days, I haven't worked in Admitted Students Day, but I've worked in open house, and I've been an admitted student on Admitted Students Day. So I kind of have the behind the scenes and the actual experience to go off of. But I'd say open house is more geared towards, the most general kind of description we can give or experience we can give about Champlain. I know that this year was different in open house. We had an admitted student lunch, but it was still just a small portion of the day committed to the admitted student. This is a whole weekend geared towards, okay, you've applied, you've got in, you're here, ready to make a decision. And that's, I think, so important to all students, and what I think all schools should offer is a really in-depth and really specific period of time where students can really get to know Champlain or their school on the best, most personal level for each student. And so I think that with open houses, it's kind of like, okay, like, this is generally what the school's like, this is generally what the school's like, but Admitted Students Day is, this is going to be your experience if you choose to come here.
A big difference that I noticed was that between open house and Admitted Students Day is I had a lot more interaction with a variety of current students at Admitted Students Day as compared to open house. I had a lot of interaction with people who ran clubs, people who were just volunteering at the event, whereas open house, I remember having a lot of interaction with the amazing essays and other leaders on campus. But I think Admitted Students Day, I was able to really connect with a lot of current students. And then also I was able to see kind of who I was going to be with for the next 4 years, which is really interesting. I had a lot more interaction with the people who were also admitted than I did during open house.
I would just want to build off a point that Caitlin mentioned. I definitely think that the experience at Accepted Students Day is more geared towards how it will be like when you're actually a student. It mimics more of that real experience of being on Champlain's campus that an open house just does not provide as much of. So it's really nice to like get that like view of what you'll experience when you're here.
I'm going to go for a bit of a metaphor here. Let's say you want to see a theater show. You can find any number of places in the country to go and sit down in a theater for the evening, see a live performance, drop anywhere between $20 and $50. If you show up at Broadway, you're going to pay some big bucks, but you're going to see a show because Broadway knows that you're coming there because you want to see the show and you are in love with what is going to be performed in front of you. To me, open house and Admitted Students Day, they're two things of similar genre, but one has all the stops pulled out. Just because if you're coming to Admitted Students Day, you're already in, and we know that you really want to be here. So it's the opportunity for Champlain to say, we want you, we're so glad you're part of the family, nothing held back, absolutely nothing. So you go all out with Admitted Students Day, and you get the opportunity to see so many things that you wouldn't otherwise, just because Champlain is ready to let you know that we're glad to have you here, and this is hopefully the place for you.
That was a phenomenal metaphor. I'm floored.
Thank you.
I was like, kind
And
of.
you don't have to pay $250 to come to Admitted Students Day. Isn't that great?
Well, I was kind of like, where is he going with this? I don't get it, but I got it. Wonderful. Okay, so here's like the real information that people want to know, right? So when you come up to visit Champlain College, you're in Burlington, and you're probably going to stay a night or two. So where are the places that people should explore in the Burlington area when they come to visit? Oof.
Well, I think first and foremost, all the time, food is my number one. And I think that Burlington has probably the best food options like or anywhere near here. I'm from Connecticut, and I was just kind of used to like, you know, okay, like there are a couple good secret spots, but everywhere here is really, really great. I would recommend for like a family dinner, check out Church Street and go to Sweetwater's or Rira. There are so many good restaurants just up and down Church Street. That's kind of like what everyone's going to tell you to do. But if you're into more like not so mainstream, there is guaranteed to be a live show every night of the week. It's one of the venues around town. I would just like search shows in Burlington for the April 1st weekend or whatever admitted state you're coming to, and check it out. There's always something to do in Burlington. I always tell my family I'm never bored when I'm here.
One thing that I love to do in Burlington is go down to the waterfront, and it sounds really hokey, but I really like watching the sunset over Lake Champlain because it's really beautiful. And so like if you're here and you have time in the evening, that's a really fun thing to do, especially if it's getting warm out towards April. And just kind of walking on the bike path is always really beautiful. It's a really calm and friendly place. There's tons of dogs to pet, which is always a plus. So the waterfront is definitely my go-to.
I have an endless number of things that I love in Burlington. I'll start with food, as Tyler said. Muddy Waters, keep that one in mind. Great coffee shop. The coffee scene in Burlington, whether you want the coffee or the tea is my personal preference, or the hot cider, or the lattes, or the smoothies, there's an option at literally every place. But Muddy Waters is this nice little cove space that the inside is meant to look very woodsy, so they have plants everywhere and some wooden and metal sculptures on the walls, and the booths all feel like you're crawling inside a tree. So it's somewhere between Snow White's little cove and the Keebler Elf house. And you get to walk in and indulge heavily in coffee, and the smoothies there are fantastic. So I would definitely recommend Muddy Waters. Like Michelle said, the waterfront's amazing, and the paths down there are beautiful. You see people biking down there or walking, and down along the waterfront on those paths that they actually took an old railroad and turned it into a path there. They have Echo is the name of it, but they have an aquatic center, so an aquarium essentially that's down there. They have a number of other cafes and shops. They have a pier that you can walk out on. They have some restaurants down there, so you can get some seafood if mom and dad are going to take you to get some food and get a nice dinner. The seafood down there is always good. There's a place called Shanty by the Sea, I believe it is. Shanty on the shore, something Shanty. And they have phenomenal seafood, so I recommend that one. Bianca, can you think of anything?
By the waterfront?
Anywhere, really.
Anywhere. I am a big fan of Oakledge Park. It's kind of walkable. It's a little farther than most people are willing to walk, but it's really beautiful. It's a great place to go, especially on a warm day with like a book and a picnic and just like chill and get like soak in the sun. There's a really cool like tree house there, and it's also near the water, so you can get some views of Burlington as well. It's one of my favorites. I love going there, but unfortunately, it's not the most fun place when it's cold, since it's like so close to the wind, to the water. Like the wind is unreal. But if you ever get to spend a summer in Burlington, which I highly recommend, it's a great place to go.
I think Burlington's problem, honestly, is that it speaks so well to so many niche areas. So honestly, my personal favorite is just wandering through record stores, even if I'm not buying anything. But we have 3 of those downtown that are just really cool to check out, one of which you go down in a little basement. And it's a super random place unless you happen to be looking for record shops. But it's so fun for me to browse through. But some people who are all about the food will visit the little bakeries, and there are some hidden cafes and such that they'll find. Or if you like to go see movies, there are a couple of theaters around. There's one downtown called the Roxy that's situated right on the corner of some of the shopping areas, but back a street. So unless you're looking for it, you might not find it. But a lot of the cinephiles love to go back there and check out films. Or if you're really into the local food movement, then you can check out City Market, which again is food, but that's a whole different experience in the cafes, because you can get stuff to make your own meals, or you can find really weird snack stuff like dried apricots and blah, blah, blah that people have sourced from local areas, and other nuts and stuff, and just like make your own trail mix in the aisles at City Market. So there are just too many options, really. So whatever it is that you're looking for, that's an opportunity that you can make another connection with somebody on campus while you're here. Say, I don't know what I'm doing this evening. I like things A, B, and C. Where do I go in Burlington for that? And somebody can help you find something that may not be on a main map or suggestion list, but something that probably is your dream thing, just because Burlington has so many cool options.
So Those are all wonderful restaurants and things to do. I have to say that I love doing all of those myself as well. And this just in from Elena. Apparently, there is much talk on the YouTube chat about this ramen shop in Burlington. And let me tell you, it is phenomenal. I'm not going to spell it phenomenal because it's long, but like that's how great it is that I would spell it out. And so it's called Gaku Ramen, and it's actually new. I think it just came in like last year, the year before that. So it's all geared towards college students, and the pricing is really great. And so you get this like huge bowl of ramen, and it's just so good. Like I go there at least once a week, and I don't feel bad admitting that. So that's Gaku. So for any of you who are coming up and excited about that, please go there and then tell me how much you loved it, because I would love to have a conversation with you about that. So there's that restaurant, but I also just want to plug a Single Pebble because it's gourmet Chinese food and it is so good. And I feel like other people on this panel can attest to that as well. It's also one of Elena's favorites, so you can also chat with her about that. So the next question is about Burlington as well. So how easy or accessible is Burlington to get around in?
I'd say I at first I didn't have a car my freshman, sophomore, first year, second year, but I had a car third year and fourth year, and I personally prefer to walk. Burlington's so easy to walk around and so easy to learn the layout. Anywhere in the downtown area, which is where you'll be living, very easy. If I would prepare for a lot of hills. Burlington is built pretty much onto a mountain, and it's usually if you're walking downhill, you got to prepare to walk back uphill after. But I'd say for navigation, it's tiny as far as cities go, but it's also dominated and structured to be a college town. And as far as having a car versus not having a car, it's okay. Like I like being able to go home like back and like whenever I want. Not have to worry about the megabus or the train or my parents coming to get me. But parking in Burlington is very, very limited all the time. And so it can be a detriment sometimes, but also convenient if you need a certain thing or need to go home immediately or anything like that.
Cool.
Yeah, so much like Tyler, I didn't have my car first 2 years of being on campus, and then I just brought it up this semester, and it's nice to have it, but I also walk more than I use my car because it's just so much more convenient to walk around Burlington. It's so easy, and like Jared was saying, anything that you could imagine is within Burlington, so you don't really need to go much outside of Burlington to get what you need.
Yeah, walking is definitely a plus. The hills provide a great glute workout, but I've also learned pathways through the city where I don't have to worry about hills. So it's easy to get around and it's easy to avoid them if you want. But like it's like not even a 10-minute walk to get to Church Street. So really not necessary to have a car. But it's a perk. Like if you like to go skiing and you want to get to Sugar Bush. But honestly, like walking's pretty great, and it's nice to look around and like get some fresh air, especially.
I walk literally everywhere, and I've never had any problem accessing literally anything. It's wonderful. In my hometown, I couldn't walk anywhere unless I just wanted to walk in circles around the housing development in which I lived. So it's a nice shift to have the autonomy that I don't even need a car to go literally anywhere I want, and it saves gas money too.
So true. That's the nice thing about going to school in it feels like space-wise, it feels a little bit smaller just because you can walk to everywhere, but it's actually so big and I'm always finding so many things to do. And I find that I actually run out of time because I don't have enough time to do everything that I want to do. So don't worry, you won't be bored even though everything is pretty much within walking distance. So back to Admitted Students Day. So in what ways do you think that admitted students will benefit from attending either of the events?
I think number one is always just connections and networking and building relationships. And on the other hand, also breaking down barriers within those relationships. I think finding roommates, just finding familiar faces for when, or if you decide to come to Champlain, is just can only help. It only helped me for sure. And even though I was nervous and I was scared, looking back, I'm so glad I went because I knew someone who ended up being in my dorm, and we already were kind of friends. We knew each other, and it was just someone to look at the first day of orientation and say, hey, I remember you from that time we hung out for 5 minutes. And, you don't really know them, but you'll get to know everyone, especially in your dorms. And so especially for me, it was just really nice to have a real sense of comfort like when I moved into Champlain.
And I think bringing it back to the idea that coming to Admitted Students Day, you're really feeling what it's like to be a student on Champlain's campus, and coming, you get to see if this is the place for you and if it's where you can see yourself for the next 4 years, building those connections and understanding what your curriculum is going to look like and who your professors are going to be. You're really getting a firsthand experience of what it's going to be like for the next 4 years.
Number one, we give you a lot of free food. Number two, you can make tie-dye. Number three, we get inflatables. Number four, you can walk around downtown Burlington. 5, you get to see inside numerous residence halls, which for me was the biggest concern. I didn't want to be living somewhere that the room and the bathroom were gross. I wanted a clean, nice space that looked comfortable and livable. And so I got to see that. That was great. 6, the students, meeting with the current students. What's better than that? They're going to give it to you like it is. And that's what I wanted, and that's what I got when I came for the open house. So Admitted Students Day, even better. No reservations. Again, all stops are pulled out for that. And then 7, the professors, which I just don't know. Those things to me, it covers all the bases. And had I gone to an Admitted Students Day, I think I would have felt a lot more secure in my decision. I ended up here, so things did work out. But looking back, it would have really been beneficial to me. So I, again, recommend it to everybody who I can recommend it to, simply because I know that it's something that gives a lot of clarity, confidence, and enjoyment.
Yeah, I can't really add anything to that. You covered it all.
True. I would have to say that those answers were great. And also going with Jared, that I now seeing what we do for admitted students, I deeply regret not going. So you should all take our past experiences and go to Admitted Students Day. It is so much fun. No, seriously, like so much fun. The Instagram pictures you get out of this event, like you don't even need a filter for it. They're just that beautiful. That's like your first reason you should go. No, just kidding. Go with Jared's reasons. Okay, so this is more about your personal experience. So what helped you decide to choose Champlain? So what deciding factors, whether it was coming to Admitted Students Day or seeing things online or our pretty brochures that we send out?
I think that's a great question. I think that I remember my experience just picking schools. I remember I came home one day over the summer before my senior year, and my dad was just like, hey, there's a school in Vermont. You should definitely check it out. They've just what you want to study. And I was like, Vermont? Like, no, I'm going to a big city. And so we ended up touring, and it was late August. It was warm, and campus was beautiful, and they had exactly what I wanted in terms of academics. And you can't beat Burlington. Like, this is exactly the college town I wanted to be, and I wanted those small classrooms, great connections that will last a long time. And it really solidified when I came here, when I toured, and when I just knew what Champlain had to offer, and all the opportunities I would be presented with. It was a no-brainer to me. It was exactly what I was looking for. I knew I couldn't survive, like I said, I'm from Connecticut, at like a UConn where there's lecture halls and 20,000 students. Like, that was not for me at all. I wanted to know my professors. I wanted them to know me, and I wanted to make friends, and that I on a personal level, not just in like a dorm full of 1,000 students. That's the experience I wanted. So Champlain was exactly that to a T.
I know when I was looking, Champlain was definitely an outlier. I applied to schools all in-state from South Carolina. If you missed that, I applied to all in-state schools. I had a feeling that Champlain was going to be it for me. So I applied there first, and everywhere else was a backup. And then I also toured Champlain first, and donezo, like absolutely done. No other school had a chance, because I just felt like I was at home here, and everything that I wanted out of a college, like good placement rate after graduation, opportunities in the professional field before you even get to like your third year, support systems that can be found in not only students but also in professors, advisors, access to like a great community like Burlington. It was just everything I wanted and more, and it's proved to be just exactly that. So much more than I thought I wanted. It was like genuinely like a feeling for me. And when I did come for the first time, I had an amazing experience with my my tour guide, my SA, who ended up like emailing back and forth with me for probably over a month and giving me advice and letting me know about the major because she happened to be the same one as me. And it was just really personalized and special and something that I definitely needed out of coming out of high school, since I went to a small high school. And it was great, absolutely wonderful. I think about it, and I know all of them by name, so it was great.
My story is very much the odd one, completely the reverse of Bianca's. So I applied to Champlain as a backup school and thought the whole way through my college selection discovery journey that it was going to be my backup school, and then it ended up being at the top of my list at the end. But it wasn't when I visited campus. I really loved the school when I visited campus and thought that it was a place that I could be, that I could see myself. But admittedly, I thought I was going to Yale, so that was a thing. But then I ended up here, which, quite frankly, had I known at the time how the whole situation would pan out, I wouldn't have spent as much time as I did worrying about all the other places I applied. I applied in California. I'm from Pennsylvania. I knew I wanted distance. I applied in California, in Vermont, to 2 in Connecticut. And I was looking for all these different options, and I had a vague idea that I wanted something that had global opportunities in focus because I want to spend time traveling. I want to get to know things beyond my borders where I was in Pennsylvania and where I might be with college. I wanted those opportunities. I wanted something that was challenging and that did business but had other things mixed into that focus. And Champlain had it all. I think I was just stuck for a while in that mindset that it was my backup school, so it was there on that side part of the list where I didn't necessarily need to give it as much attention or anything. And then I came here and I settled in. I switched my major because I found a program that I really loved. I had a class in my major in my first semester here, realized that it wasn't quite what I wanted and needed. I switched, and everything just fell into place. And so at this point, I have to laugh at myself when I look back at all that and think that I went through the whole process. And I can't truthfully tell you that I got on campus and I loved it immediately and knew it was the place for me, because that's not what happened. But I had a sense that it would be somewhere that I could be happy, and that I could find things that would challenge me and really fulfill me academically and socially and vocationally after that. And I wish I had paid more attention to that. So to look back to Admitted Students Day, I think that's a good opportunity to find that time on campus and to give yourself more time to think about it. I was so crunched at the end when I visited campus. I wasn't open enough to those ideas. I was thinking, here's my plan. This is #1 school. I'm not considering any other ranking order. And so then when I got here, it was a little bit stigmatized in my mind, but this is an opportunity for any of you to get on campus and get that firsthand experience and immersion, which I think is something that's really powerful. And even if you don't feel it at that first time around, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not the place for you, because I, coming into Champlain, didn't think it was my school. And now that I'm here, why would I be anywhere else?
Sorry, Caitlin.
No, you go.
I found Champlain really late in the game. It was the last school I applied to. And so I came to an open house in October of my senior year, and I fell in love with it. I originally thought I was going to Providence College, and my mind was immediately switched as soon as I stepped onto campus. I knew what I wanted to do as soon as I was like a sophomore in high school. So the idea that I was able to get into classrooms and teach starting my freshman year was super appealing to me. And then once I stepped on campus, all of the other aspects of Champlain just solidified my decision, like meeting all the people and getting in contact with my professors while I was there for an open house or an Admitted Students Day was just solidifying my decision that this was a place that I wanted to be for the next 4 years.
Awesome. So I hear from the YouTube chat that there is a buzz about coffee. Haha, buzz because coffee gives you buzz and energy. Okay, sorry, that was really bad. Okay. But so coffee shops in Burlington. Coffee is literally a lifestyle here. So just really quickly, I'm going to have Jared talk about coffee shops because our very own Jared Nepper created this wonderful BuzzFeed quiz all about which coffee shop you are or something like that. So Jared, you seem very well-versed in the coffee culture in Burlington. So if you would like to touch briefly on that before we end our program, that would be great.
Sure. Briefly is not my specialty, so I'll try to condense and not use too many words. But there's a BuzzFeed quiz that any of you can take. It's been dropped into the 2021 group on Facebook already, so it's there hiding, and you can search for my name and it'll pop up, Jared, Jared. Or you can go to the Twitter for Champlain or for Champ Admissions, and either one of those will give you a link to the quiz too if you scroll down a little bit to find that. But there are 9 shops right on Church Street, which is our main downtown shopping section. So either on the street itself or within a block if you branch off to any side. We have 9 coffee shops, and that doesn't include a bunch of tea places. We have 2. I worked at a tea shop this past summer, and that is one of 3 or so that's down in that area too. So there are lots of options, and I made this BuzzFeed quiz so you can do random things like judging a book by its cover, or picking a pair of boots that you feel like fits your personality, or the sort of music you'd like to listen to in a coffee shop. And it takes those things into account as I profile each of the coffee shops to the best of my ability. And then it'll give you a result and say which shop you should visit. So that might give inspiration for when you're here. But there are some that, like we talked about Muddy Waters before, are very woodsy inside, some that are very modern, some that have really fun, weird drinks. So whatever the option might be that fits you, the BuzzFeed quiz should give you an idea what to check out.
It's a really good BuzzFeed quiz as well because I took it and I got my favorite one, which is New Moon Cafe. So it's pretty accurate, not gonna lie.
Okay, so that's our coffee culture in Burlington. Just a little glimpse. So if you come here, you have to try all of them. So one more thing that people seem to be talking about, they're asking about the Friday night social event that we have. Is it casual or more formal? It is definitely casual. We do games, and we usually have some sort of raffles, and there's music, and lots of current students are jumping around, and photos are being taken, and we have really yummy, like, chicken fingers and mozzarella sticks and fries and just delicious, like, game night hangout casual food. So don't come in like a prom gown or anything. You can, that's totally fine, but it's not necessary to come in a prom gown. So that is what the event will be like. Someone from Thailand is asking if they should come to the Admitted Student Day. I am saying yes. However, I know that it's very far travels for you, but definitely if you are in the area at that time for either events, I think you should definitely come, but you can also catch up with it via social media because we will definitely be posting about that. So before we end our session, I just want to ask the panelists one more question. So if you could give one piece of advice to admitted students, what would it be?
I would say my biggest piece of advice, and this, travels through all of your years of college, is to be open. And that seems like just such a repetitive phrase that you're told over and over again during this time. But that's what I wish I was. Looking back, I really wish I was more open to making connections, talking to people, and really not being so nervous in my head. And I also would really like to advise that it's okay, like, not knowing or being unsure, or still making a decision, being uncertain about your future, that's okay. I was always so hard on myself for not knowing or not having a solid plan and sticking to it. And that needs to be abandoned. And you'll learn. I promise you'll learn for yourself. But I wish someone had told me when I was in that place that, it's okay, take your time to figure things out. And that's what resonates the most with me, is just trying to be open, and it's okay if I don't have a solid plan right now.
And I think going off of that, just remembering that everybody who is at these admitted students events and the faculty and staff at Champlain are here to help you, and they want to see you succeeding. They want to see you enjoying your time. And so being open and try not to be too nervous. It's natural to be nervous about it, but trying to enjoy your time here and really soak up all the opportunities that you're given.
I think especially at Admitted Students Day, and if you do come to Champlain, like orientation in the very beginning, something that someone told me that I definitely took to heart was that everyone's in the same boat. Everyone's nervous. Everyone's trying to figure out who they are, what they want to do, if they actually like their major, if they like their roommates. Everyone's like in that same like nervous energy kind of boat. And if you just accept that you have to be out there. Like, I talked to genuinely like every single person that I recognized from the Facebook group, or that I was like meeting for the first time. I like tried to hang out with as many people as I could, because I was just trying to like experience new things, and knowing that everyone was on the same boat made it easier to just, as an introvert, be like forced into being an extrovert. So it's nice and it's comforting to know that you're not alone in that regard. And it makes it easier because everyone is trying to make friends and trying to establish like who they are at this college. So just take it easy, recognize you're not alone, and just try and have fun in the process. You get a lot of fun stories.
You have a lot of opportunities that will present themselves before you, whether at Champlain or elsewhere, and this time has a lot of tension with it and a lot of anxieties, as everybody else mentioned, because it is a fully new experience, and there are a lot of expectations of what you should follow and what you've seen other people doing, or what your peers are saying that you should do, and what your parents are saying you should do. There are just a lot of voices and influences that are trying to help you in the right direction, but I think I spent too much time worrying about what seemed right to just let myself fall into the opportunities. And once I fell forward into those, I found a lot of things that made me happy, a lot of things that really helped my learning and brought me to a place where I just can't wait for more of it. So look for the opportunities, do some adventurous things, do some irrational things, just to spice it up a little and see what adventures come your way. I fried squid in lime sauce last week. Wasn't something I necessarily do again, but am I glad I tried it? Yeah. Something that gives me great conversation piece, great inspiration for finding future adventures. If I can do that, why not the next thing? So there's always something that's going to present itself in front of you, and don't be hesitant to take that step, because at this point in your life, the options before you really are limitless.
Well, thank you for all of that wonderful advice, panelists. That was very wise, and it makes me want to come to Champlain all over again. So we are getting a few questions about hotels and where to stay in the area. We have on our admissions website for Champlain College, we have lots of options there for you as well. So you can definitely go there to check that out, or you can reach out to your admissions counselor, and they will have plenty of suggestions for you. But Burlington's a great area, and we have tons of places for you to stay. So do not worry about that. So that is the end of our admitted session Google Hangout tonight, folks. Thank you for joining us. We are so happy that you got to spend an hour with us and hear from current students. I'm going to pass it back over to Elena, and I hope you have a great rest of your night.
Thank you so much, Caitlin, and all of our panelists tonight. You guys did such an awesome job. It was a lot of fun listening in on all the great answers that you guys had. So feel free to tune into future Google Hangouts as well. We actually have one coming up on April 12th, which is all about residential life and how to pack for college. And then we also have another one coming up on I'm Admitted, Now What? What are the next steps? And that's going to be happening on April 24th. So feel free to tune in for those. You can also find our Google Hangouts on our YouTube channel and our blog. So there will be an archive of those there. So feel free to check those out in the future or direct friends there. But that's pretty much all we have for you guys tonight. Again, thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope to see you on future Hangouts.